Well, excited about, I think media day when you take that team picture always feels like kind of the official start. You doing new hairdo? I like it. It's nice. Always feels like the official start of the season. Guys have been good. We are young, and we've talked about it. That's not something you're going to hear from us a whole lot. That's not going to be the message. It's an excuse that's not going to be used. I hope I never use it. I'm going to try like heck to not use it because I think that we've got a lot of pieces in play. I think it's got a chance to be a very good team. We got a long way to go like everybody else does, but we're excited about Sunday at 4 o'clock. That's going to be a great opportunity for us to scrimmage. We've had one scrimmage a couple days ago. I don't know when that was. And it was pretty good. The defense wasn't great. I think it's better than where we were at last year at this time. And, the turnover is always an issue. So happy with where we're at now. But know that we've got a very tough schedule. We probably have the toughest schedule that I've had since I've been here when you talk about the non-conference. Depending on what the Puerto Rico, how that plays out. And then certainly Clemson at home, as well as Oklahoma State in South Dakota. So very challenging, so we got to be ready.
Is there any one particular rule coach among the rule changes that's been a little more challenging in practices for the players?
I think the 30-second shot clock, I don't think for us it's a huge challenge in the sense of we tend to play fast. Not that that's right or wrong. We just tend to play fast. That's the adjustment that's going to be made. Them calling a timeout will probably be an adjustment for me because I'm sure I'll be signaling timeout and the ref's not going to be giving it to me. A player's got to do it. That's an adjustment for me. Other than that, I don't sense a whole lot of total different things. I mean, trying to speed up the game, trying to get us out of huddles quicker. That's something where I think that'll be a little bit of an issue, like hurry up, get going. But other than that, I mean, we always call it tight in practice early because I think you always see hand checks are going to be called early. They got that arc out a little bit more. I think the arm bar is going to be different. That's another big difference. So we'll see. The challenges will rise certainly when the games start.
Do you feel like in just the last 3 years that the game has really gotten to the point where it needs a change, where it needs some rules and different things to try to speed it up and make it a little less difficult?
Yeah, I mean, I always think, and I don't know, I always think that it starts this way always. And then come Big Ten season, come conference season, it always gets more physical. It becomes more of a possessions game. I do think what I like is an emphasis on speeding up the game in the sense of like the huddles or a guy fouls out. There's no more of these timeouts. One less timeout I like. I like the fact that 30 seconds before a media, if you call a timeout, that becomes the media. Like I think all those things are good. But I still think come Big Ten season, I think we're going to feel like we're back where we are. I think.
Is that a good thing, though, or do you want to see it go in this direction? Do you think that college basketball is at the point where it really needs to have speed?
I don't know. I mean, it could always get better, and I think I like the fact that we're always trying to improve. I think Tom Izzo said it at the Big Ten Media Day that he'd want continuity from college to the NBA. I like that idea. But we also got to realize is that we don't have NBA players. The NBA is so geared towards the individual player making the play. It is so geared to that. Like there's so many things you watch in the NBA. There's so much physicality off the ball. They're not going to call the foul if it has nothing to do with the play. I'd like to get towards that a little bit more. But, yeah, I mean, people like offense. They want to see more offense than low-scoring games. Well, no better program than the Gophers to see all offense and no defense. So,
Richard, with all these new faces and pieces, what's the realistic timeline for this team establishing an identity, roles?
What's nice to see is all 4 freshmen. And I didn't know about Ahmad Gilbert if he'd be quite ready. He's getting ready. He's getting in great shape. all four of them have got to play. It's where my first 2 years, some guys didn't have to. We don't have, I guess we have 10 scholarship players eligible, right? And we have 2 transfers that Jarvis would have been 13. So we've got 10 available guys. Every single one of them really needs to play. Like if we get in foul trouble or whatever, they're all going to have to be ready. So I don't know. I guess I know this after being in the Big Ten for 2 years. Ohio State does not care what our age is. Michigan State does not care. So we better be ready. So we're trying to get them ready right away. There's definitely a sense of urgency about that. Like we're not going to sit here and say, oh, we're young guys, no big deal. So we're working on that. There's a sense of urgency there.
Obviously, your 4 freshmen that are eligible this year are going to be a big part of your core moving forward, but what do you expect from that class immediately?
Well, I think that we need an impact from that class right away. Whereas last year, we really didn't need that from Gass and Bakari right away. We didn't. I mean, because we had Mo, we had Elliott, we had seniors. We didn't need those guys to do that right away. Well, Joey and Carlos are only 2 seniors. They can't play 35 minutes a game, so we need those other guys to be ready. And I don't think there's a whole lot of drop-off. I like that versatility of those things. So I think they all need to be ready right away. Now, if they're not, certainly we've got to adjust and we've got to try different lineups. I like right now, and again, I like it right now. It could definitely change, but I like Charles Buggs at the 3, JR at the 3, Jordan Murphy at the 4, Joey at the 4, Bakari and Gass at the 5. You don't know with foul trouble. You don't know what may happen, but I like that. But you got to be ready to adjust. Well, I don't worry about those 2 together as much as I worry about the 3 spot being small. Like I don't when your 1s and 2s are small, I don't think you get hurt on the glass as much because their guys are normally getting back in transition. I don't think the size part hurts you as much because we like to pressure in the front court. Normally the 1s and 2s are up. Where I try to stay away from is playing 3 guards, the Carlos Morris at the 3. But again, it's a pretty good lineup offensively. That's something where I got to kind of figure out because I know if you want to win in this league, you need to defend, you need to rebound. So Dorsey and Mason, your 2 best guards? 2 best guards? They're pretty talented, but Dupree McBrayer is very talented as well. Carlos is very talented, and JR will not probably play. Ahmad will probably play more of the 3. I think all 4 of those guards, the 1s and the 2s. Any day it could change. I think they're all pretty even. I do.
How do you address the rebounding when Joey struggled with that last year? Obviously, you hope Bakari comes back healthy as soon as possible, but the guards are going to have to rebound for you.
Joey needs to get better at it, and whether or not it's technique, we've been working on a lot. But he's just got to get a little bit quicker to the ball. But Jordan Murphy is naturally a very good rebounder. So I've told Joey, if you're not rebounding the ball, we need guys in there who can rebound. He knows that. So that's something we've talked about a lot. I think Bakari can naturally be a very good rebounder because I think he's huge for one, but he's quick to the ball. He's got long arms. He's got length. I think Gass is improving. I think Jordan Murphy has got the physical ability to be a phenomenal rebounder. Then if you play bigger at the 3, you're going to see better results rebounding and defense. Now, who knows?
Given maybe the lack of bodies you have right now, how important was it to get good injury news on Nate Mason?
Huge. My heart dropped when that happened. I turned negative real quick. I didn't let the team see it, but I was like, oh my goodness, because you really only got 4 guards. You technically you want to have 5 ball handlers, in my opinion. We only got 4 right now. But for him to he only missed a day of practice, but we thought he was out. We thought it was torn ACL, non-contact injury. I mean, we were 100% convinced of that. I do think that Nate has the ability to be one of the better guards in the league when it's all said and done. I think he had a really good freshman year. I think he's primed to have a great sophomore year. So to have him healthy is extremely important.
Richard, if you just take a step back and look at wide angle at the program and where it is going into your 3rd year, how much progress do you think you've made in assembling roster, just looking at everything that you wanted to do
It's funny because my first 2 years, I never liked when people said, "Oh, those aren't your players." I just don't think that's fair because we had great kids, did a lot of good things, and those guys played their butts off for us and did a lot of great things. But there's a feel now in this third year that every guy in the program was recruited to play the way we want to play. And that does not necessarily mean we're going to bat, whatever you bat, 1,000. You're going to bat 1,000 on it. You're going to make mistakes like everybody does. But there's just a sense of we sat in the living room with your family, and we told you and your family about where we thought you'd be. Doesn't always work out perfectly, but I'm really excited about where we're headed. I think that recruiting's going great. Without getting into specifics, I think that we've got really good young talent. I love this transfers that are sitting out. I think both of those guys can be impact guys. So I think as you move forward, I think there's a lot of things to be really excited about.
Do you think that this is a critical year for you, just third year in the program, being able to really, show what you can do as a coach and what you've been able to recruit and your style a little bit more?
I don't know. I mean, I just look at it every year was critical. Like, I thought my first 2 years were extremely critical to, move the program forward, to get everybody to understand the way that we're going to play because I was such an unknown as a coach. I was only at FIU for a year, and nobody really knew about us. So I think they're all critical. How critical one is over the other, I can't really say. I mean, I do know that this year is huge. And next year will be huge, and last year was huge. That's just the nature of being a basketball coach. People aren't patient. I'm not patient. So that's kind of the way it works.
Is it hard not to drift ahead to next year, though, thinking about those transfers, thinking about the recruits you have?
The transfers are hard. It's always like when you have two really good ones, you want to throw them into practice, but then okay, they're not playing this year, so you've got to understand that you better develop these guys. You get excited about playing certain lineups sometimes. It's like, oh, this might be really good next year. That's a little bit of a challenge. But I think as we start moving, we're getting close now to some games. We've got to really lock in on those guys that are eligible this year. And then certainly individual instruction with the transfers and so on. But I think that there is a lot to be excited about in the future, but I'm excited about this team right now as well.
When you look at your the stars that you mentioned right now, that second group potentially has 4 freshmen, possibly.
Yep. 4 freshmen, a sophomore.
Right. I mean, you kind of cringe at putting 4 freshmen out there at the same time, or some of these guys are more ready than others.
I think that they're all trying to think if we would ever have a lineup where all 4. It could happen, all 4 freshmen on there because they all would work 1, 2, 3, 4. They're going to go through their highs and lows like all freshmen do. I mean, and you look at too, Nate Mason's only a sophomore. Bakari and Gass are only sophomores. It's not up to them to act like juniors and seniors because they're not. And you really look at Gass; he should be considered a freshman as well. So. It's just not something that we're going to worry about. By all means, I'm going to worry about a lot, but it's not going to be youth because that's where we're at, making excuses about it, talking about it. Not only does it not get us anywhere, it's not fair to the seniors either. I mean, to go into Carlos Morris and Joey King and say, we're gearing up for the future, guys, that's not fair to anybody.